Mud.
So I came out today to film a MiniTip Monday on the technique to learn ruts quickly, the process you would go through. But when I got to the ruts, it was so damn slippery, I couldn't ride them properly.
This is a poor life choice. What is this?
So I couldn't show anyone how to ride them properly because I can't. We've reached that point of the year where the rain is so heavy that now the ground is slippery and adventure tyres kind of reach their limit. This is a problem we have in the UK. So instead, I'm gonna put the camera on me riding down this seemingly innocuous rut so that you can see how pathetically bad I look / how difficult it is. And then maybe we'll make a video about how to ride when it's really slippery. I'm gonna go get my bike. Whew. It is slippery. The first point of riding in slippery conditions is that we need to understand how we interact with the bike and the impact that has on the grip level we feel. So when it's slippery, everything you do through the throttle, everything you do with your body impacts the tires much more than it does when it's dry and the grip is high. So we need to soften ourselves and the way we interact with the bike off massively. When I come off the throttle, it has to be really gentle. When I roll it on, it has to be really gentle. And we can use some technique to make that process even softer. The first of which is I ride in a tall gear pretty much everywhere. If I can be in second instead of first, I will. If I can be in third instead of second, I will, especially on a big adventure bike which has a lot of power that needs controlling. The second part of this is that I use the clutch to soften that even more. So when I roll off the throttle, when I want to slow down, especially in a rut like this, I'll quite often just nip the clutch ever so slightly so that the impact and the pressure I add to the front wheel doesn't make the problem worse. We're being as gentle as we possibly can all of the time. In these conditions, the tires are really important, more important than they are when it's dry, more important than what you choose on the road. When the conditions are really muddy, the tire is almost always the first thing to run out of grip and become the limiting factor. So this is the reason that on our T7 project bike, I ran Karoo Extremes. I wanted something that was infinitely more designed to be an off-road tire. Today I'm on Karoo 3s. I love Karoo 3s. I think they're a great all-round tire. However, on this bike today, not happening. Not a great life choice.
So damn slippery.
What you really want is something with a lot more space between the knobs and knobs that will dig into the ground to find some grip. Something more off-road focused. Now, it's important to understand that off-road focused isn't the only answer here. There's a big difference between a mud tire and a desert tire. Something like Motoz's RAL Z is much more of a hard ground focused tire. It's going to be better than an adventure tire, but it's maybe not going to be as good as something like an enduro tire or a Michelin tracker or anything that's really, really chunky. Now, the sizes and the limits, tires, it's an endless conversation, but it matters and it's worth messing around with. Once you've started to get your head around using the clutch and the throttle and the gears together to be much gentler with the tires, we can then start to micromanage our speed a little bit. Now, the point of this is that it helps you be very deliberate with where you get grip and where you don't get grip. One of the most common mistakes I see when people are learning to ride in slippery conditions is that they drive at the wrong moment, try to carry too much speed for their brain to handle. And then you end up closing the throttle and taking drive away at exactly the wrong moment. If you notice that you're losing the front wheel a lot when you close the throttle or when you're trying to ride up little obstacles or through puddles or so on, it's probably that the timing of your driving is slightly off. So what we need to do is be very deliberate about when we feed the power in and very deliberate about when we take it away. Quite often I'll come a little bit slower towards a small obstacle and then drive through that obstacle and then bring the power back under control again and work in that way all the time. A little bit of drive, a little bit of bringing the power back under my control. You use this skill in obstacles, in small bumps and obstacles along the trail, small hills, and so on. This isn't an exact science, but the best way to think of this is that I will quite often come into an obstacle relatively slow, whether that's a small bank or a log or changing ruts or anything like that that's slippery and difficult, come in nice and slow and then drive through the obstacle. This is very hard to show on camera. I don't know how you do that, but once you get your head around it, you'll know exactly what I mean. Off to the next one. I think the last thing when it comes to riding in slippery conditions and getting on well with it is very much about you and how you choose to perceive that situation. Riding in slippery conditions, mud, clay, anything like that is really difficult. It really is. It doesn't change as you get better. It's still difficult, but the big switch in your ability to do it comes in your attitude towards it. If you can find it in yourself to tell yourself that those wet, rainy, muddy days are really fun, and it's funny that you're all slipping off and falling over and you can't ride.
Hot damn, it's slippery.
You will have the best time and you will get better and you will enjoy it. And if it's in you that you hate it and you don't like doing it and you don't want to do it, you'll never get anywhere. It's the biggest hurdle that comes with riding in winter, that riding in wet, horrible conditions. But if you can find that joy, it will change everything for you, I promise. That's it. That's all I've got for riding in slippery conditions. You have to accept some things, you have to change a little bit the way you ride, and you have to find some joy in it. That's it. I hope you have a good winter riding your bike. I hope this video helps a little bit, and remember, life's better when you're riding.